I have received word through the sons of Elrond and the wandering companies telling of your valor at Fornost. You are to be commended for your skill and daring.
I think we managed to slow down Agendaur's plans at the very least. But how have things been here since we left to find Aragorn?
All has been quiet. There was an alarm sounded at Buckland shortly after we parted company, but it seems to have amounted to nothing.
Buckland? Where is that?
It is the easternmost region of the Shire, the only portion that lies east of the Brandywine River. It would seem quite tame to you or I, but many Shire folk consider it something of a wild frontier.
You said an alarm had been raised there. Do you know why?
It is difficult to say, since our only information was gained by eavesdropping on conversations between the little folk, and even they seemed uncertain as to just what occurred. I gather a house in the village of Crickhollow was attacked by something that filled the villagers with dread. I assume it was one or more of the same Black Riders who attacked us here.
Have you heard anything of Aragorn? He was desperately searching for a certain hobbit when we parted at Bree.
All I know is that Aragorn is rumored to have left Bree in the company of 4 hobbits of the Shire. I can only assume one of them is the hobbit he was seeking, and that they are now bound for Rivendell. There is worse news, however. On the night before they departed, the Prancing Pony Inn came under attack by unknown assailants.
There are so few rangers left here now, it might be dangerous to remain. What if the Black Rider should return? Perhaps it would be best to retreat.
That would be the wise course if I thought they would return. But I am certain they did not come this far merely to slaughter a small band of Dunedain. No, I will remain here with the few we have left. We cannot hope to fight the enemy, but we still have eyes and ears to gather news of their movements.
We had yet to make a count of the dead the night you sent us to Aragorn. I had hoped there would be more survivors.
Some few are away patrolling the borders of the Shire, for even now we must attend to our duty. But sadly, many of those who were wounded in the attack died within days from some evil ailment. Even those whose wounds seemed minor. Perhaps Solana could tell you more.
I'm ready for whatever new orders you may have for me. Andriel and Farin have also volunteered their aid. How can we best be of service?
Truthfully, I would be happy for the extra hands. But it is clear to me that you 3 have a greater destiny. You may be needed more urgently elsewhere.
So what would you suggest we do?
I advise you to make your way to Rivendell. Aragorn will be eager to hear news of Agendaur, and he may have other tasks for you to perform. For now, the enemy seems to have turned away from the Shire.
These Black Riders, the Nazgûl, they have come a long way from Mordor. It seems strange they would travel all that way just to invade the Shire. Have you any idea why they would do such a thing?
I do know why they're here, but it is not for me to pass that knowledge on to others. Perhaps Aragorn or Elrond will tell you more when you reach Rivendell.
Travel to Rivendell? Very well, but it is a long journey. We'd best get started.
Perhaps there is something you can do for me on your way.
Gladly. You have but to name it.
I sent 2 of my rangers, Kilaran and Luin, on patrol along the Brandywine River. They should have returned long before now. I am growing concerned for them.
They are both seasoned rangers who have served many years in this region. We can be certain they have not simply lost their way.
From which direction would they be returning?
They were to follow the Brandywine north as far as the Great East Road, and from there to make their way back by passing through the Barrow Downs.
The downs are just north of our position here.
Then we'll make our way north by way of the Barrow Downs.
Perhaps we will discover some trace of them as we travel.
You have my thanks. I know your skill as a tracker, Eridan. If Lewin and Kalaran made it as far as the Downs, you should be able to pick up their trail. Farewell, and safe travels to you all.
Are you hurt? You look well enough to me. If it's healing drafts you need, you can get them from Maradan. I have a dying man on my hands.
Young Elrond is dying. But why? What's wrong with him?
Wrong? I don't really know. His wound is minor, yet his life is slipping away. I fear he is suffering from the Black Breath.
The Black Breath? What is that?
It is some power wielded by the Black Riders, the 9 Nazgûl. Their victims are stricken senseless, and without aid, they soon die. I've already lost 3 men to this curse. Elrond is the only victim who yet lives.
But there is still hope. What can we do?
I hardly know. Drawing an arrow, stitching a wound. These things I have done countless times. The Black Breath is something I know only from the old rhymes my teacher taught me.
Tell me this rhyme. Maybe there's some clue there.
It was years ago. Let me think. I believe it ran something like this. When the Black Breath blows, and death's shadow grows, and all lights pass, come Athelas, life to the dying. That's all I can recall.
What is this Athelas the rhyme speaks of?
An herb, commonly known as kingsfoil. It has little medicinal use, though some find it comforting for headaches and other small complaints.
Then there is no harm in trying it with Elrond. Do you have any of this Athelas?
No, I have none. You'll have to forgive me for neglecting to lay up a supply. But you see, no one bothered to tell me that the 9 ring wraiths would rise up from ancient legends to trouble us here. If I had Athelas, don't you think I would have used it by now?
It must grow wild somewhere. I am willing to search for it.
Perhaps you could find some at that. The plant is not native to Middle-earth. It was brought to these shores from lost Numenor, and planted in the lands where our ancestors used to dwell, including the Borrowdowns to the north.
How will I know Athelas should I come across it?
The plant has many long, smooth leaves, but you might best find it by its scent, a sweet, pungent fragrance. The Borrowdowns hold precious few such plants.
My road leads to the Borrowdowns. Should I find Athelas growing there, I will return with a supply.
Eredon, my friend. It's good to see you alive and well. I'll admit I wasn't certain we'd meet again, but then everything seemed grim after the Black Riders broke through our guard. It was days before I could shake off the feelings of despair. Does your gear need repair?
I'm glad to find you all still safe. How have things been here?
Well enough. Quiet. We've seen no sign of the enemy since the attack. It's as if they have lost interest in us. Or perhaps we're beneath their notice now. But from the look of your gear, you've seen a thing or two since last we met. Are you in need of repairs?
I found these materials amid Old Kingdom ruins. I believe they might be used to make a fine weapon.
These are relics of our ancestors. Made in a time before the lore of Numenor dimmed. If I had the use of a good smithy, maybe I could make something of worth from these. But not here in the field. If you're bound for Rivendell, you'll find skilled smiths among Elrond's folk. Try taking these to one of them.
Farewell, Haldor.
You're soon to be off again, are you? Well, I have a few things among our supplies that may help you on your way. Perhaps a few extra arrows for your quiver, and a few of Solana's healing drafts may come in very handy as well. Take a look.
First, give me your thoughts about what happened here. The attack of the Black Riders.
Ah, well, I've seen many things in my day. Evil in many forms. But I've never seen anything like we faced that day. So many lost. It's hard for an old man to see so many younger men slain. I wish I could... Well, there's nothing to be gained.
But there is something to be gained from action. We must have our revenge.
Revenge? That's all well and good. But those men will still be dead, won't they? Better that we do whatever we can to save others from their fate.
Yes, you're right, of course. But it still burns to see good men fallen and their killers unpunished.
Those men died trying to protect those who can't protect themselves. No one can ask for a better ending. But you still live. And there is a long and dangerous journey ahead of you. You must be prepared. Take a look at the stores I have on hand.
Does your gear need repair? Does your gear...